What up, what up, what up?
What's up? Look at us, man. We all on time and stuff.
As close as on time can be.
Man, we the man. We the man.
Where you at now, Scott? Where you at?
Where you at? What you got to
Where
say
you at,
now,
brother?
Scott?
Shoot.
Probably out there trying to cook some ribs.
Try to. Nah, they buy their ribs at Giant Eagle.
Listen, real quick before we start, I was supposed to talk last week with David Girth. We had a long talk before we came here.
Okay.
He goes to an all-black church.
Does he?
Yes, his pastor's a female, but it's an all-black church. It's a predominantly black church, obviously.
Predominantly black church. Right.
But he said I can't even remember. He brought something.
To like a dinner or something?
To a dinner.
Okay.
He said it was his aunt. He said it was so good to him. He said they have not stopped talking about him bringing
It was
that.
probably potato salad with raisins in it or something. It was probably potato salad with raisins and pecans. What's up, Mike? Big Mike. Big Mike is on vacation this weekend, and you notice how everything go better when you ain't here?
Man,
I mean, what's up, bro?
You can't do it like we do it.
He doubted us, man.
I came in here and put everything together.
Man, I am running this system by telepathy right now. I got the Star Wars, the Force. I'm pushing the buttons from over here. Hey, y'all. Welcome to Religiously Incorrect.
Big Glenn, what's happening? Listen, we are brought to you by the African American Community Fund.
It's hilarious.
The African American Community Fund, established in 2020 as the Foundation for Appalachian Ohio, supports Black-led and Black-serving organizations throughout the 32 counties of Appalachian Ohio to elevate the quality of life and address disparities in African American communities.
Disparities. Leave that
Disparities.
Check them out
At www.appalachianohio.org, or you can call them at 740-753-1111.
Okay, leave that picture up real quick because I did not realize that was Elder Carter's face.
You did?
I never actually looked at the photo. All these years.
She is on the board.
All these years, I was never actually looking at the photo.
Yes.
She's got some good headshots. She's got some good portraits. She was in the Business Journal this week for being an innovator. And I'm like, every time I turn around.
In the newspaper. She always in something.
She's our own superstar, man.
She's a superstar.
We love you. We love you, Elder Carter. Love you all. Well, good evening to everybody. It's a pleasure to have you here on Sunday night for Sunday night service.
Yes,
How you doing, Pastor Tatum?
The holiday weekend.
Let's shout out Pastor Tatum, Pastor Kevin Osborne, who are now pastors officially, like in between pastors, in between New York and Florida.
They doing both of them?
They're transitioning to Florida, and I know. When did you guys get started, Pastor Tatum? I know it'll take a second, but when do you guys get started in Florida? But they're in a transition from Brooklyn, New York.
We're in Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville. Okay.
Greater Jacksonville Church of God.
I'll be in Orlando on the 24th.
Oh, you'll be in Orlando?
I'm taking my son, Grayson, to Disney World for his birthday. So.
You are? Just by yourself?
No, they're being a family. I don't like kids that much.
Man, listen. In Disney World, man, that's a whole new experience. Well, how you doing, Sister KK? June 30th. Okay.
All right.
Okay, I'm about to get my flight together. Yeah, I have to work something out. Do something. Pastor Kidd, good to see you. Can you scroll up a little bit on our comments? Like, say, yeah, okay, Pastor Robinson, good to see you. Hey, make sure you like and you share. Brother, it's that time again.
Man.
It's that time.
It has come to the end of the year.
End of the school year.
Listen, let me tell y'all something. I don't care if you get out with a 1.5.
Can you get out with a 1.5?
Yes, you can.
You can?
Trust and believe me.
Jeff says, I have firsthand experience.
A 1.5 or a 4.0. As long as you graduated and you are going to the next grade, congratulations. Especially to those who are graduating this year.
Congratulations.
2024.
Listen, the class of 2024. We never thought the year 2024 would come.
Man, I couldn't even think of it back then.
Just crazy. And we congratulate every level. We congratulate
after Y2K.
After Y2K, we didn't think any year was going to come. We thought the rapture was going to come. But if you graduated, we got little ones that graduated from preschool to kindergarten, from, middle school to high school, from high school to college. And then there are some adults that are in college or college students that are getting their diplomas as well. Don't you have somebody in your family that passed a test or something? Or
yeah, Asia just passed her nurse's test. So she is rolling. Oh, man. She is rolling. I'm about to get the borrowing off my daughter.
And some pills.
Listen, right. As much as I done paid for Asia, as much as I done, Lord have mercy.
Yo, let me get some Vicodin.
Some of them Oxycontins real quick.
Preacher is wearing me out. No, so my wife is a little disappointed that we didn't have an 8th grade graduation at our school for Elias. I don't remember when 8th grade graduations became a thing because I don't remember having one.
I know I didn't.
I don't remember having one. But then again, at the time, I was going to a school where the graduating class was like 30 people.
Oh, yeah.
So we was all in like a one-room schoolhouse barn at the same time.
They just gave everybody one graduation certificate and cut it up in pieces.
I was in 6th grade in the high school marching band. 3'6", carrying a trombone, dragging behind me.
Well, just
but I don't remember 8th grade graduations.
The crazy thing is, my son Christian got best dressed at the 8th grade. I think Elias got most athletic.
Did he? He didn't tell me that.
He got most athletic.
So Christian got most best dressed.
That should be on because if you see him right now.
So you should get it.
Yeah, I should get that.
I get it.
These should just hang that up in my room. Because if you see him right now, he got on every color.
Every brand.
There is the brand.
I love it. I love it. So, okay, so that's my point, Sister KK. So Willard did. So if I did have a complaint, the complaint would be that some schools in the same city are having an 8th grade graduation. And yes, I'm talking about the city of Warren. And some schools are not.
Wow.
So that I do feel, and I'm not trying to be that parent because my kid is out of it now. And honestly, I'm not big on it. I wouldn't like crying about it. But I do feel you should be consistent so that the kids have the same experience.
Throughout.
I mean, we only got
let's just be honest. If they did have one, neither one of our kids went to school on the last days.
We wouldn't have been there.
We wouldn't have been there.
We kept them home. They both were doing
you ain't getting beat
thing.
Up, y'all.
It's always fights, and half days. Because the last time I let Ethan go to school on a half day was when he got in a scuffle.
That's it.
And he had asked me to stay home. And I was like, you going to school. Next thing I know, ring.
Well, somebody already told Christian, that's cap. The teachers just like you. That's why you got best job. No, you staying home, Doc.
Right.
Ain't gonna happen. So let's
you ain't coming home shoeless.
Right. Let's switch gears because we're talking about shoes and clothes and everything. Prom season.
It was prom season like the last couple of weeks. Prom season. Okay. Prom season is a different season these days.
It's completely different.
I hate to say it, but I am now officially at kids these days age.
What?
Where I'm like,
kids these days. Right, I got you now.
Back in my day, and we're not going to talk about any of, because they are just kids. And let's just be clear about that. They are still 16, 17 years old, whatever. But some of these outfits.
And I'm not just talking about not the girls, some of the boys
guys too, man.
Dude, these skinny suits is getting out of hand. They are getting out of hand.
Babies, you keep messing around.
Oh no, you got on drawers up under that dog.
You got leggings. I mean, they got leggings. And I had a rule, and I understand it was not everybody else's rule. I had a rule that whatever I bought, I had to be able to wear it again. And when I was coming up, that's when it was beginning to turn into we had cats with airbrush suits. They had Nike symbols, airbrush, just all kind of custom made. One couple came up looking like Aladdin and Jasmine. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, some of these ladies, they're really literally wearing, stickers and a bikini and lace pasties. But then these suits are costing because they want to put the $2,000. Dude, it's net.
It's net.
You could have
had for netting. You could have went to Dick's Sporting Goods.
Got you a fish net. And put some pasties on you.
We just gave somebody an idea too. And you know what it is? Here's the funny thing. You're gonna go two ways with this if you're a man, and I preach this frequently. You're going to go two ways. Either you're not the right kind of man and you're going to ogle these young ladies like a grown woman, right, which you shouldn't do. Or you're going to have that dad mentality where you're like, like you think of your own daughter and what you don't want them to wear and how you don't want them to be seen, and you start becoming like dad to them. Like you wish you could, you know what I mean? But we have to remember, an adult bought it.
Right. Somebody bought it because the kids ain't buying it. I think a lot of these parents are, living out their
through
fantasies through their kids. And
because you know what Mo got as soon as we did that basketball game is, when are we going to have an alumni prom?
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, first of all, I've been to 2 classes. Listen, you're right, Mike.
You are right.
Put that $2,000 at prom and no money set aside for college.
My God.
Listen.
Listen, can I throw this? Because I saw it on Facebook, and I don't know who it was. I can't remember who it was, but it just resonated with me. They said, can we normalize fathers not coming outside?
Gun routine.
The whole gun routine, and you gonna bring my... Listen.
It was funny like one time, like as a funny joke, but it's obvious that some people are like,
yeah,
I'm sitting here with like whole AK-47s and bazookas and stuff. And here's the funny thing, and I don't mean to be crass, y'all, it's religiously incorrect. Your daughter gonna get pregnant and you ain't gonna do nothing. Can I talk? Because it's a whole lot of... Because if that was really effective, everybody talking all this big talk, right? Everybody talking all this big talk. Touch my daughter, this, that, and the other. Give it 9 months, dude. And what you gonna do?
Well, for me,
Nothing.
if I'm bringing my son over your house and you coming out with it,
I'm going back home.
We're going back home. We out. We're not doing this. We're not doing it, bruh. I got guns too.
Listen.
So
I'm gonna bring your daughter to my house and say, if you get my son him there for 18 years,
right,
it's about to be this.
Right.
But I'm just saying, I get the display, I get the joke. Some people think they're really making a threat, but unfortunately, there's too many young ladies out there that have already been laid up with. Okay, and I ain't seen none of y'all chase nobody now.
Right.
But nothing. Matter of fact, you don't even half of these fathers ain't being the grandpas or the men they need to be to their own children. They just putting on for Facebook.
Truth be told, she was just over his house last night at 3 o'clock in the morning. You ain't know. You ain't know.
Exactly. Well, you did know, and you're pathetic. You did know, and you're pathetic. So that's the funny thing to me. Like you said, like I said, first time joke, unique. Then everybody wants to play catch up. And the next person got to do it bigger, and the next person got to do it big until all of a sudden you start shooting warning shots. Yeah, right. You doing warning shots. You doing TikToks and warning shots, and you got warrants.
Right?
Why you? And you got warrants. The police chief watching this, and you wonder why you getting arrested on your daughter's prom night before she even get home.
Oh my
Man,
God.
that's funny. But okay, so I wish that the outfits weren't all that revealing, but that's life. Everything is. These superstars, these Hollywood stars, they're all wearing no clothes, weird clothes, net clothes. It is what it is.
It is.
But I do think we're doing a lot. Now, I don't bash anybody who wants to spend big money on their child. That's your money. Spend it how you want. But if you come back with the poor mouth in 6 months, if you need the village to step up for you, I do feel some kind of way about that. Because
all right. This religion. Did you sin on prom night?
Man, me and my wife are sanctified.
Look at that smile! Look at that smile!
Listen, no. Did you forget I went to prom with Lady Shamika Johnson, the former Miss Carson? We went to church on prom night. We was tarrying at St. Paul. And I was one mad brother. Right. Man, let me call this other girl real quick. Man, the truthful answer is no.
Take me to the hotel. Forget the water.
Take me to the hotel jacuzzi. No, man. Nah, man. We came the way we left. We left the way we came, and that was it, man. I'm not gonna ask you because
you don't.
Jeff wouldn't say.
Nowhere near.
I would not dishonor my wife. But again, congratulations. And here's the last part of the congratulations. If you are a pastor, you're about to be broke. And can I say, because this is religiously incorrect, the reason we're going to be broke is because all of the out of the woodwork seniors that you ain't seen since they were 4 years old. And I am proud of you. I'm proud of you. But I don't know you like that.
But it don't matter. We still got to give.
Graduation parties, you got to give. Graduation parties used to be about families and friends that watched that child grow up. There are people that I literally, and we'll get into this later because it's part of the subject of the story of the show tonight. I really cannot say I know you. If you walked into church, I wouldn't recognize you. And I say this all the time, even as a bit of a, speaking of a warning shot, as a bit of a warning shot, usually early in the year, I say if your kid is in 11th and 12th grade, bring him back around the church.
Yeah.
Make sure that people get to see their face and know them. Because it's not just me and my opinion. And I know you don't care about the church folks' opinions and can't nobody talk about my son, this, that, and the other. But truth be told, you would talk about him because you probably have. Other people's kids. If somebody just pops up out the woodwork that you haven't seen in 10, 11 years with a invitation talking about, all right, now I expect all the saints in this church to come and bless me. And we're like, who are you?
What is the other thing called? Not the graduation, open house.
The open house. Yeah, the open house.
And some of these open houses ought to be closed.
Closed houses. But they more for the adults and the kids.
Stop talk about I'm having an open house. You got hot dogs. Boiled hot dogs on the grill.
Man, I don't even eat, man. I go in and shake hands, drop cards in the basket, and I keep it moving.
They got hot dogs and John Eagle potato salad.
Like everybody else, some of the mamas and gone home. Everybody can't cook like they used to.
Wow.
You can't trust everybody's. You know what I mean? Give me a piece of cake.
Right.
And I'm moving on. You know what I mean? Right. But if I know they can throw down, I'm showing up. I know you can throw down, I'm showing up. But yeah, I say it all the time. Be sure. Yes, Scott, you are late. We were on time.
Yes, Scott. Sir, Doc.
We were on time. Hey, y'all, it's about that time again. Y'all know what's popping. Y'all know what's up. It's time for Meme of the Week.
Meme of the Week. Meme of the Week.
Welcome to Religiously Incorrect, ladies and gentlemen.
Meme of the Week. Meme of the
Week. Thank you. Send us your memes of the week.
Meme of the week. Meme of the week.
We are. These are all jokes. We are just playing.
So this meme is a video meme once again. Mo, we were on time. The 802 was the intro. Okay? The intro was 2 minutes, Mo.
Why you had to blast us like that, Mo? You supposed to be part of the family. You supposed to be part of the team.
We got a whole 80s sitcom intro song that we got to play before we can go live. Thank you for being a friend. Dog, everybody knows your name. Everybody knows your name. My aunt, you know what I'm saying? We got a whole intro. So don't do that to us. Don't do it. Be your own people. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. It be your own people. Anyways, as I was saying, this meme I call how to make an entrance. Now, we've had the exit meme. Matter of fact, it's the one right there in the middle, right beside the logo. Play the exit meme. We know the exit meme in the middle. That's the exit meme. This is how to exit a church. Yes. This is when you've had enough. This is when you're done. You're finished. All right. So this is how to make an entrance. And I hope that after I've been in ministry for a little while, this is how I walk into church. Listen, y'all.
What in the Pepto-Bismol Pink Panther?
Man, hey, do me an A, B, and C with this video one more time. Do me an ABC. We got an ABC. Wait, right there. Yeah, we got an ABC right in the middle. Do me an ABC. We're gonna live. No, with all three of us. Hit me and the two of us, and then yeah. Here we go. What in the strawberry shortcake? What in the Lost Temptation?
Is it metal flakes in his? He got metal flakes in his suit.
Is that suit plug into the wall and he can only walk so far away from an outlet?
This is the Christmas tree
What in the bad James Brown wig?
Megan Thee Stallion challenge got going on up in here.
What in the Christmas tree ornament looking?
My Lord.
He stole grandma's wig. He stole grandma's wig and put it on backwards.
He was like,
listen. He took attention away from the deceased. He needs to be deceased. The deceased got up and was like, what you doing here?
he looked in the mirror and was like, I'm going to kill him with this one, boy.
They said Grady from Sanford and Sons first time going to church. But in all fairness, every city has one.
Oh, yeah.
He's obviously a preacher. He's a pimp named Slick. Every city has one. Friday night record store owner Pinky's brother.
Not Pinky's brother. Pinky,
Say another thing.
Pinky,
say something else.
Say something else.
Say something else.
It's Pinky.
What in the? I said on the video. I said on the actual video. This is the final boss at Easter. This is the final boss you got to defeat at Easter service if you want to truly be saved.
My
I mean,
God.
and it's a funeral.
His funeral.
And he's waving. People apparently know him. And here's the thing: nobody flinched.
Because he probably wears
He's
something
a
like that every
commodity.
time.
He's a known commodity.
They already know that's what he's gonna go with.
Every city has an off one.
K1, get him for your calendar, Doc.
Get it for your calendar?
Get him for your calendar. The buck stops right there, Doc. Get all the colors.
Call your calendar.
January.
The Shallites got saved.
January through December.
Reverend Orange Sensation. Man, I mean, I love it, man. Like I say all the time, you can't beat us, man. You can't beat us. You know who he's dressed like? The announcer from Price is Right, Rod Roddy, the guy that used to wear the That's right, crazy suits, man. I mean, he got that out the Steve Harvey sequin collection.
Man,
I mean,
please. That was the Chinese connection.
The Chinese connection.
Two guys.
That's two guys in the back room.
Yes, in the back.
That's the exclusive connection. Well, if you guys have a meme that you want to send in, send it to religiouslyincorrectpodcast@gmail.com. We always love to hear from you. If you have any questions, comments, subject matter you'd like us to talk about, why don't you let us know? You never know. We might hit up a unique, subject matter we might want to throw at. But in the meantime, we want to thank our sponsors, beginning with the Phillips Family Care of Businesses, Phillips Care Lawn Services. I was out doing my lawn because I love to do my lawn, but in riding around the neighborhood, apparently a whole lot of people don't. So you need to call Phillips Lawn Care Services at 330-219-7916. Get on the rotation, get in the schedule, bi-weekly, weekly, spring, fall, cleanup, edging, trimming. If it's outdoors, they can do it. Lawn care starting at $30. And while you're at it, if you haven't done your spring cleaning yet, call Phillips Care Cleaning Service. They do residential and commercial cleaning. Don't waste your time trying to do it. Let them do it. Not only can you call them at 219-7916, but you can look them up on Facebook at Phillips Care LLC and tell them Religiously Incorrect sent you.
We are also brought to you by Action, the Alliance for Congregational Transformation, influencing our neighborhoods. Listen, we are so excited. Usually we want to talk about stuff, but we just want to, Pastor Todd already said it. We just want to celebrate our executive director, Elder Rosetta Carter, who made it into the Business Journal again. I mean, she is just doing big things. She continues to, go above and beyond for not only for Action, but this community in a whole. So we just want to take a time out and just put your cyber hands together for Elder Rosetta Carter.
Give it up for Elder Carter. We appreciate her, and we thank her for all the work that she does, and we expect an extra big grant just for saying that next time. Thank you very much. Okay, so our subject matter, and matter of fact, you can even tag a pastor in this one. This show, our second half of the show, is Life in the Fishbowl.
Life in the Fishbowl.
Life in the Fishbowl.
I never learned to swim. Aqua boogie, baby.
Left.
Can't get the feeling of it.
You can mute his mic. You can mute it. So Life in the Fishbowl is about the public life, the public presence, and the public pressure of the pastor.
Right.
And we're going to tie this into a feature we have done quite a few times. I need to make a logo for this, called Ask a Black Pastor. So if you got a question
Got
for us,
questions, comments, concerns.
we would love to answer your question. But I want to talk about life in the Fishbowl, Pastor Jeff.
Absolutely.
And
Let's
life
talk.
in the Fishbowl
Let's
means
talk.
that we have a prominent role in our respective communities, whether we want to
or not.
or not. Just by virtue of being a pastor. There's only a few roles in the community that sort of guarantee you visibility, and this is one of them. Being a pastor.
Which could be good and bad.
Which can, because you can be famous or infamous
Come on.
as a pastor. And so I want to talk about, both of us have been pastoring for some time now. I'm going into my 12th year of pastoring. I'll be my 9th year at 2nd of September, 3 years prior to that. Been a minister, an associate pastor before that. So we've been in this for a minute. You've been in this for a minute.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
we've been doing this in the social media era
Yes.
as well. So what do you think are some of the greatest challenges for you? And let's start personally you. We're going to talk about family and other dynamics in a minute. But first of all, with you, what do you see as just challenges that you've noticed over time in being a public figure in your community?
Yeah, I mean, it's so many of them. There's so many. One of the biggest ones for me, man, is just, the spotlight is always on you.
Right.
Whether you want it to be or not, trying to find a balance in between being a pastor and being a person.
Wow.
It's oftentimes difficult because, he's supposed to be a pastor. Listen,
It's a
we're
favorite
allowed to have
phrase, ain't
fun
it? You're
too.
supposed to be a pastor.
Can
man.
we just
I
be
can't
us?
tap my foot at the wedding reception.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, and then like you said, in the social media age, anything you do, they will shoot it out there.
Right.
And you'll have 50 million people, looking in on your life. Yeah,
Right.
right. Like no context. No context.
Yeah,
right.
or wrong context.
Wrong context, absolutely.
Assumption. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. You always are on. I am cognizant that I am always on grocery store, dry cleaners, restaurant, ball field with my boys. I'm always on. And I have to, because the spotlight's always on, I have to be on.
Yes.
And I think that both of us live in a way, which, by the way, some pastors struggle with.
Yeah.
We're both down to earth enough that if I'm at the ball field, I'm at the ball field. I'm not praise the Lord, hallelujah, all that stuff, even though other people are, which is aggravating because you don't need to greet me like that.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to buy some potatoes at Giant Eagle. I mean, I don't need a sermon from you,
Right.
So that part is just knowing that you're on in slight aggravations. I had a moment last week that I testified to. I didn't say it in church, but I said it actually at a funeral the next day, that I had a moment where I blew up at my boy's baseball game last week. And the umpire turned around and was like, literally, he was over the top. But he literally threw me out, like, parent, you got to leave. And they all calmed down and it was, worked out. But I had yelled. I didn't curse or anything, but I had just joined the course of bad call, boo, all that junk. And I was the last one to yell. And he was fed up.
You got
He was fed up. It turned around. And I told it at the funeral. I was saying how quickly life can change. I said, because Monday night I'm leading the Holy Ghost Revival Pentecost service. Monday night I'm getting thrown out of ball field. And I'm that crazy parent on TikTok now. But I immediately had this sorrow and this guilt because even though the whole team is riled up, the whole parents are riled up, everybody's like, ain't nothing wrong with you. You ain't wrong. You ain't, even my kids, you ain't wrong. I'm like, nah, because of who I am, I'm wrong. And if I wasn't who I am, maybe I would think differently. But because of who I am and what I'm supposed to represent, whether you think I should be that or not, whether you think I can have a human moment or not, the guilt is still on me that I had a human moment.
Absolutely.
So the funny thing was, everybody was perfectly fine. Everybody was perfectly fine. The coach was like, maybe that was unfair, that wasn't right. They sent somebody over and was like, you don't have to leave. I wouldn't apologize to the other parents. I almost had tears in my eyes because I'm like, I'm not supposed to be that dude.
Right.
You know what I mean? Plus, we was at, an all-white community. I don't want to go to jail. I didn't want to go to jail. But, even though I'm a parent like anybody else, even though I'm a person like anybody else, I still feel like I owe it. And I feel like that's an unreasonable guilt sometimes, but it's a guilt nonetheless.
It is.
You know what I mean?
And you know, another thing that really hits us is that more people know us than we know.
Listen.
And I mean, I literally just started preaching in Steubenville in January?
Yeah.
Something like that.
You the man,
I
dog.
go down there and everybody knows me. I'm like, how do y'all know me? These are people that go to my church.
Right.
I'm like, I'm an hour and 15. How do y'all know me?
Right.
But it just is.
Right.
And it's not a big city, so it's easy to, your name gets around, your picture gets around Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
People
So
have heard of you.
you literally always have to be on.
And you do, because you never know who you're talking to. And like you said, more people know you than you know them. And of course, I'm a councilman as well. And
Right.
Lord knows I live on TV and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people are familiar with my face, even though I don't. A lot of kids, a lot of my kids' friends, a lot of people that I might have went and spoke to a class or spoke at a church or been at an event. And I don't remember hardly any of the faces, but they remember,
Right.
Me because I was up front. And so, again, everybody knows you more. And, I'm on edge. So you talk about being out. It's so funny. Pastor Pierre said, you can't play spades like you want. You can't play spades. In my world, it's Uno. That's all I got is Uno.
Well, it's not just that. You and I, specifically you and I, love to have wing night.
We love to have wing
We
night.
love to have wings. So we'll be out. And I mean, it's we sitting there and the waitress is just, y'all passed, and I'm like, we don't know you.
We don't
we have
know
no
you.
idea who you
God
are, what
bless
church you go to.
You know what I mean? Or you get that super friendly waitress that just treats you like two dudes.
Right,
And you're like,
right.
nah, you don't got to play the flirtatious crap
Right.
with me for a tip. I'm going to tip you anyway for y'all gossip about me. But yeah, I mean, people, like you said, they know you. They know you well. Man, I kid you not. I feel weird walking too close to the wine cooler of John Eagle, man. I'd be back there like, man, let me get up out of here real quick.
Absolutely.
But I think I'm trying to slip something in my pocket.
Yeah.
And, okay, here's the other part about just general public. It's not how you feel about being out or being seen out, but it's how people act when they see you out.
Right.
So back to the wine cooler thing. Listen, bro. People drink. I don't drink. But people drink. Mm-hmm. You do not have to try to go out of your way to hide that brown paper bag from me or walk away to the whole other side of the store. I don't have to look you in the eye and say hi and keep moving. But people, they get the guilt trip. And it makes you feel awkward because I'm just trying to be another person. And now you made me this high clergy guilt trip thing, And I appreciate people who have respect. Like, let's say they were cussing and cutting up, and they're like, you watch your mouth, the pastors are right. I actually appreciate that old school respect.
Right.
What
Absolutely.
I don't appreciate is people walking on eggshells just being human. And I'm not saying I don't appreciate it, but I just feel like you don't have to do that. And here's the other thing you don't have to do. Not only do you not have to hide your brown paper bag from me, okay?
We know what's in it.
Not only do you not have to try to avoid me at the store or whatever, you don't have to try to play praise the Lord with me. And God help me, you do not have to say, I'll see you on Sunday. When you know good
Please,
and
you
well.
ain't coming.
I know good and well.
You ain't coming, man.
Oh, man. I'm going to see you Sunday, Pastor.
It's been a while. I'm telling you, I'm coming. I'm coming, bro. I'm coming.
I'll be watching. No, you don't. No,
Can I talk about something for a second?
Yeah.
And this may be taboo, but this is a serious thing because it's not just us, but oftentimes it's the perception of our wives.
Listen.
And oftentimes we have to say, you're still first lady. You are still first lady.
Can't cuss them out.
Because
they be wanting to say and do what we can't.
Right.
And they'll say it. They'll say, I know you can't,
right.
but I will.
Right. I'm not no, yes,
listen,
you are. Yes, you are.
Our friends or their friends or our family members or their, what I mean? Because, the auntie, the protective auntie, the cousin that be like, what they say? I ain't safe, and he said they won't you because they know your license plates. Well, everybody knows the Black Beauty. I mean, everybody knows Malibu. They know when I'm cruising. But you're right.
I changed cars so much now.
It's so funny. you have to remind them they're first lady, and at the same time remind them that they're your lady.
Yes, absolutely.
And to be honest, yes, you are first lady. There's a role that comes with that, and both of our wives wear it well, thank God, because I know some wives that don't wear it too well, and they could become an embarrassment to their husbands. But we have to let them know that yes, you are a first lady, and there's something that comes along with that. And I know people don't even like that, but you know what? Doggone it. You know, I had somebody put on Facebook, where's first lady at in the Bible, and da-da-da-da. It is fine. It's always some nasty funkiness. But if you had to go through the pressure of being a pastor's wife and dealing with all the expectations that come with it, that little title or name or regard or respect is not even, trust me, it ain't worth it. You want to be called this, knock yourself out.
Right.
But I do tell her that you're the first lady, but you're my lady first. And your commitment is and should be to your family and not pleasing people. And I said it last Sunday night when I was at Calvary preaching, and wonderful time, by the way, at Calvary last week. I said, you know, my wife's not here. Been a hectic day, crazy day for us, and she deserves time off and to, you know, time to herself, whether you think so or not.
Right.
Like, I don't care what the saints think. First lady in church, ain't got to be no drama, ain't got to be nothing wrong. No, we didn't have a fight, nothing like that. Old girl deserves a break.
Do you feel
emphasis on old? No, I'm joking.
do you feel obligated to say that when she's not there?
I don't feel obligated, but I'm gonna speak my mind. You know what I mean? So I feel like, because plenty of times she's not there.
I mean,
last
week my wife, and you know, she has been a trooper, you know, because we have to go all the way to Steubenville. So we got a nice drive. So, and we have to be in Sunday school. So, you know, we got to be there at 9:30, which means we're leaving the house by 7.
Right.
So last week she just wasn't feeling well. And she did. And you know, I fought the whole service. Should I say why she ain't? But I don't have to.
You don't.
I don't owe.
Listen.
I have to be there.
Listen.
But I don't owe you an explanation on why my wife is not there.
I treat it the same way I treat when I have to speak somewhere. You know, I carry the George Johnson method of most times not preempting my absences with an announcement. Most of the time, I just go preach. We have it set up. Everybody gets a little hint, you know, when they don't see my car, I don't come out. They know I ain't there. So, and when people, and I'll start with myself, when people are like, you didn't tell me you were in church. You never tell me when you're not in church. Ever. So outside of a few people who might let me know, and some people do, hey, I'm going on vacation with the families, want to let you know, which is appreciated. Don't have to, because everybody, for whatever reason, might not make church.
Right.
You know, we ain't up there taking attendance like you about to get a star at the end of the year. I mean, we got a grade school in this joint. But I don't owe you, and I certainly don't owe an explanation on behalf of my wife. I don't mind giving an explanation if I feel, hey, wife's out with her family and went to go see somebody, or she's visiting with another family member of their church that, you know, we love, or wife was at home in jogging pants and eating waffles. What you gonna do?
Right.
You know, go get some, you know. So I feel it, man. And I think that that's a tension that we have to live in. And since we're on wives, that number one duality, I should say. Let me change. I was going to say number 1 and 2, but let me say a duality. The duality of number 1 being expected to present the perfect marriage and family, and people celebrating the image that we present.
Absolutely.
Because pastors and first ladies usually, many of them present a good, positive, clean, beautiful family. Love to see our pictures posted, and we're dressed all nice, and, you know, the kids, all that stuff.
That's what the kids, you know, baby.
But on the flip side, the reality that you're not perfect, because you know you're not, and there's this sort of toxic, you know, insinuation that can't nobody be that perfect.
Right.
So like you expect a perfect image, but then there's this other toxic, like, quiet accusation, sometimes not so quiet, that y'all probably got skeletons, y'all probably, you know what I mean? And yeah, but it's none of your business.
And we do. But
it's like, but it's not worth the toxicity of assumption and insinuation and casting aspersions. And I don't care how many preachers and pastors' wives you've heard about scandals and this, that, and the other. If we ain't them, we ain't them. We're our own person.
Absolutely.
Because truth be told, all y'all screwed up anyway. I didn't give you all your baby daddies and all your baby mamas and all that stuff. So why are you talking about us or assuming? Because again, I keep saying it. There's like this, and I keep using the word toxic, but there's just like this crazy like hero worship and villainizing at the same time of the same people.
Yes.
It's like you're a hero on one side, and like the hero makes you the villain because they're sick of you being the hero. Like, I want you to look good, but I'm sick of you looking so good.
He said it in Batman. You either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain. That's what happens.
Correct. And here's the funny thing is, like, people will like our photos. I'm talking, I mean, at this point, 500 folk like our little pretty photo. And then hate on the photo.
Oh, yeah.
Or be like, how come I only see y'all looking perfect? What else am I going to show y'all? What you want me to do? Go live the next time we fighting? Like, all right, hey, she got the pipe pan out about to knock me upside the head. Let me go live. What? Right now I'm about to preach on this. I'll probably bring it up later. Just so we can prove we're real.
Right.
Like we have to display whatever imperfections we have in our marriage or the way we communicate, the downtime.
And let's just be, we all have them.
But I don't
you don't need to know.
Authentic.
You don't need to know it.
Yeah,
you don't need to know it.
I talk enough about I'm in a marriage and a life just like the rest of y'all.
Right.
Read between the lines. We're human. Read between the lines. You know what I mean? Every struggle you have, we probably have had. I won't apologize if I've handled it differently and had different outcomes.
Absolutely. Because we're still together.
Thank you very much.
We're still together.
You know what I mean?
18, 20 years. We're still together.
So we've argued, but I've never laid my hands on my wife.
Absolutely.
We have had struggles, but you ain't going to catch me out here firing guns and all this. You know what I mean? Crazy. So that's funny, like a blessing and a curse of the image of the family, including the kids. And it's funny because, again, there's that image thing. First, your family's growing. You got baby Grayson, so you got the baby now. Bruh, ain't nothing better than a pastor with a baby.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
Bruh.
It's beautiful.
Pastor with a baby.
He runs around and he rules the church.
Man, you be having church fights and arguments, just bring the baby out. Like, y'all, look at how cute he is. But then it's like, your kids probably, yeah, they're kids. Yes. Yeah, they get in trouble at school. Yes. They probably say a word. You heard them say something at the mall that they shouldn't say. Yes. You know what I mean? So it's like again, that hero villain role. And again, pastoring in general brings that dichotomy, that duality to our lives. Because unfortunately, we do live in a world that is highly dependent upon, especially in the Black community, the work of the church and the ministry of the pastor, but also highly hostile to what the church and the pastor represents.
Absolutely. And
it's insane, public figure, to have to publicly serve people who publicly despise you.
Wow. Now, do you believe, because it seems to me that we have matriculated a little bit as far as pastors are concerned. Back when I was growing up, back when church, you had pastors like Reverend Mason, Reverend Maiden. You had pastors and you thought, these cats were so stern.
Yes.
And so stone-faced.
Right.
You like, these cats can't sin.
They can't,
They don't even go to the bathroom like everybody else.
Right. Oh, yeah, man.
Because
they sleep in their suits.
Right. When you say you woke up like this, you was for real.
I woke up in a robe.
And I mean, it was like, these were some serious dudes. And I don't think today's generation, you, myself, even, I throw a lot of Joe. Nobody, we don't have that demeanor.
I think some of them, and more of them than we realize, were like that. But because of the position we were in and the distance we had from them, from youth, or not being familiar with them at a personal level, we just didn't know they had that side to them. We didn't know. I've heard about strict Kojic holiness pastors that had a wild just sense of humor. They were just hilarious, just funny. You know what I mean? But I never saw them that way because I was that little kid that was afraid of the preacher, basically. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times if you're raised in a family that has high reverence for preachers, they're not going to even talk that way about the preacher, even if they know that.
Absolutely.
Even if they know that they're good for a good joke, or, you know what I mean, that they let their hair down here, that, and the other. But I believe it. I think just not just the sternness, but just the image and the stature in general. It's almost weird because not only do you see them in a different light, because some of these people we have been blessed to become pastors alongside. We're still like the juniors in the community, but now we're sitting in the pulpit with them. We're at the funerals with them. You know, we're preaching at their churches. They're preaching at our churches. And so they still have this aura to them. But on our side, we have become that dude.
Yeah.
And people treat us with a seriousness that we're not even portraying, because they have reverence and respect for the office and the minister. And so I had one sister who called me and apologized one Sunday on behalf of her son, teenage son, grandson. And he had played his part in the service and did a little something. He turned around and made a little funny gesture. And we did like a little, guns, like a little funny thing. She thought it was disrespectful. I was just chopping it up with a teenager. Like, I love the fact, number one, he's in church. He's serving the Lord. We have a good rapport. But she called me and was like, I'm so sorry. Like, tears. And I'm like, for what? I thought I had already portrayed myself enough. The jokes I tell in the pulpit, little goofy stuff I'm always saying. I'm like, I didn't even think anybody would think that way. But I forget that they look beyond even what we present. And they look beyond, they look as how they perceive. And they still, and sometimes, let's be honest, whether it's this podcast or our Facebook pages or whatever, sometimes the way people perceive us is above and beyond how we actually portray ourselves and see ourselves. And sometimes they'd be a little disappointed. Like, they'd be like, I didn't know you could joke like that. How do you think I keep my sanity?
Right.
And by the way, go up, because I think it was Sister KK that asked, how do you keep you and your kids so humble? No, go down. We're already at the meme of the week. How do you keep your kids? It's KK asked it. There it is. How y'all keep yourself and your kids so humble? Okay, let me start by saying humility is in the eye of the beholder. Because let's go back to the Fishbowl. There are a lot of people who do not think we're humble. There are a lot of people who think we're the opposite of humble. And so let's talk about this side, Pastor Jeff, and keep that question up for a second. People can have the wildly different versions and ideas about the same person in the same community. And one group of people can be saying he thinks he's all that. And another group of people can be saying he's so humble and generous and kind.
Absolutely.
And it's just so funny living between the wildness of perceptions and opinions, the wideness, the breadth of it, the distance of it. And it's like, you talk about being hero and villain. And it's like, you don't want to believe the height of the people who love you and support you to the point that you get full of yourself. But at the same time, you almost have to protect yourself from people who already think you're full of yourself, and they have that other side perception. Right. And have you ever, and you're a little different than me because you had a more worldly experience before you became a pastor.
Right.
You might have people who don't really believe, or maybe didn't believe at first, like, he ain't for real.
Right.
And you might have struggled to be for real, at the beginning when you're coming out. But like, how have you dealt, whether it was transitioning to the ministry or just being in the ministry, when people have wildly different perceptions of you?
It took a while. Especially when you're talking about family. Family. Oh yeah.
They know you too well.
You still, little Jeff from Youngstown, you still a little thug, you know what I mean? You still, you still like to fight, you know what I mean? And then sometimes before I got saved, I like pork chops. Okay. After I got saved, I still like pork chops. Right. So I didn't just change overnight.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So it took a long time, and it took several churches, going to several places, and it took a while, but I think, as we grow and as we learn, people start to see the difference in you. And, it takes a while though. It takes a lot of doing. It takes a lot of, just being who you are and not really trying to impress people and show people that, you know what I mean? I'm different. I'm
not what you say I am.
I'm who God called me to be.
Right.
And, and it shows based upon the lives that have been changed, what I'm doing in my life, the marriage that I have, the way I raise my children, you know what I mean? What I've been able to do in the community.
And so I've come to the place where even if I can't prove it to you being the critic, the person with the negative perception, even if I can't prove it to you, it's almost not my job to prove it to you. And that's almost not my job none of those things should prove it to you, because I am who I am. Right. I am human. I'm growing. I'm developing. I'm maturing. I grew up as the young minister going through a lot of changes like young people do throughout their lives, except I was doing it in the ministry and community space. And so all of the things that come with being young, which by the way, I do believe, and I'm going to talk specifically about the whole pastors think they're all that, or they think they're without sin, or they think they're the this, that, and the other. Some of that is ageism at work.
Right.
Or maybe reverse ageism, by which I mean I'm too confident for the age I was, but not too confident in myself at the age I am now. So I can say stuff at 41 going on 42 that would have folk thinking, who do you think you are when I'm 23, 24? Which I've said it before, I think that it can be helpful to slow people down because we are all growing and maturing. And so sometimes it can be helpful. But I had to learn, it's so funny because I was talking about myself, but I was sort of speaking out of my experiences of how I've been treated. You can't check somebody into humility.
Right.
Not genuine humility. You might be able to shut them up for a moment. You might be able to embarrass them in the moment. You might get people to think differently about, but you will not generate genuine humility in a person who might be thinking a little higher than they ought to think. And a lot of times, again, youthful Todd talking, I was thinking higher, if that's what you want to call it, because I just hadn't experienced all of the world yet. So I am all that in the space in which I've existed so far.
Right.
In the years in which I've lived so far. Like, it's actually not untrue. It's like the high school star who's the high school star in the high school, until he makes it to college.
Until he gets to college.
He can make it there or to the NFL.
Everybody is that good.
It's like
everybody's
Clark
that good.
got pushed around for the last 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, after all that hype. So it's like, I think ageism is at work, and we have to acknowledge that. Because we will put up with older preachers and Christians saying some stuff. I mean, saying some stuff. It was like, hey, you know how they are. That's old. And then a younger person can just talk a little bit out of pocket that you're not comfortable with because, by the way, we're younger. You've been a younger minister. I've been a younger minister and pastor because these folks are old enough to be my grandmother and my auntie and all that, and they just can't stand. I'm not saying they can't stand. I'm saying, like, in their subconscious being, somebody 23 is not supposed to speak with this kind of authority, walk with this kind of confidence. It must be arrogance. And the funny thing is, even if it is, I have learned that loving me and supporting me and encouraging me is the best way to humble me. Hearing older people saying, and I've said this on the show before, hearing older people say, I'm proud of you, has humbled me more than hearing older people say, who do you think you are? You need to slow down. You ain't always right. Hearing an older man, older minister, an older saint say, I'm proud of you, man, you're doing a good job, gives me a more clear-headed view that I'm being watched and observed than the cloudy view I'd get out of the criticism. Because the criticism is going to cloud me because I'm already going to start feeling down because I feel like I'm being attacked. And so whatever corrections I need to make or whatever perception I need to kind of take a second look at, I'm probably not going to get there because now I'm in defense mode.
Right.
I'm backed into a corner.
But it's often earned ignorance or arrogance. Earned arrogance. You had done. I mean, when you and I first linked up, I mean, and the church began to grow and we began to do things together. I don't know how many times I heard, well, Pastor Todd is just so standoffish, and I'm like, well, y'all don't know the dude. Y'all just got to get to know him. Y'all got, and I think,
come have wings.
Right. I think this show has really opened up a lot of people to see.
I think it's helped.
Your comedic. I don't even know. I hate your comedy. You are the most, and even the comics you listen to.
Oh yeah,
but you have that. You have it, and I mean, but. I think, over the years, you've transitioned in the way you preach, the way you interact with people. And a lot of people thought it was that yin and yang when you and I were together. I was this open and real boisterous type of person. And you were reserved.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think you've changed.
And a part of that is personal protection, because I realized that some of the people I thought was arrogant, or I was told was arrogant, they were protecting themselves to, like, if I don't show them anything, I don't give them anything to judge. Like, keep it to myself. I'm telling you, pastors and first ladies that in my heart, sometimes I've told them, now that I'm at a level where I can't, man, I had a wrong idea about you when I was growing up.
Right.
I didn't realize what pressure this first lady was under until I had a wife as a first lady. And people are at 1 minute treating you like a queen, Next minute is get your kids while your kids acting up in public. You should be doing better than that. Da, 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 da. So you just kind of walk with your head high. And you know how they take that? Oh, you think you're better than us because you're looking in the sky and you're... No, it's like... It's just such a different dynamic at the age when you're growing up literally before people. You're literally growing up in front of people and trying to live your life, raise your family, pay your bills, struggling privately, trying to be the man and woman of God you're called to be. And so you're almost like protecting yourself because you feel like the more you show up of yourself to others, the more you'll give them the judge.
Yeah. Then you have the whole opposite person who tries to act too down to earth.
Yeah.
You try to act too, I'm just like the people. Yeah. I can,
Pass that beer over here.
and sometimes even that can be warranted because, those old hits like we talked about who you didn't think, use the bathroom like everybody else. Once they made that mistake.
Correct.
You was like, oh my God, I can't believe.
And people flip on you so quick. They flip.
Switch like a light switch.
And by the way, we found out that preachers cuss. Oh. Preachers like the ladies. You in the office and they talk about their favorite choir member. And I'm like, yo, so you got to wrestle with the respect you always have for them.
And some of these is big time, people who have major churches. And you like, especially as a young minister.
Like, is this the bishop or Chris Rock? Yeah. Like, what is going on
as
here?
a young minister, I remember one time we went and picked somebody up, man, and, picked him up from the airport and, we bringing him back in this back on the back seat on the phone and he just cussing. And I'm like, I don't know whether to take this dude out to dinner or take him. You need deliverance yourself. How you gonna preach to me? But you didn't know this.
You didn't know.
You didn't know this.
Yeah. And again, it was that is that human part. And again, I guess everybody's got a cross to bear. And but I don't want it to be mine. And and we learn to stay away from people. Oh, and by the way, okay, so let's talk about this, Pastor Jeff. We're talking about the fishbowl, the prominence, but there is a fishbowl that exists even amongst our own peers. And if you begin to elevate or experience, and I'm using this word cautiously and carefully, but experience any modicum of success, and whatever you want to call success, you're just becoming more well-known, the church is growing, maybe you've been asked to fulfill certain positions in your denomination or in your community, you're the president of this, that, and the other, we're on these boards, whatever. Basically getting the attention that other people wish they had.
Right.
Let's be real. Or used to have. And now you're living in a fishbowl of your own peers, and they don't know how to take or treat the elevation of your life. And many times, especially if they're older, they know full well the pressure that comes with it. At least they should know the full pressure that comes with it. They should know that it's not all it's cracked up to be. But now, because they're not the man and you are the man now, they feel some kind of way about you. People who knew you when I was the organist for the city.
Right.
Now I am one of the more prominently known pastors in the city. That's a weird dynamic for people to handle. Because they're literally looking at me like, you used to play the organ for me. And can I be really real and religiously incorrect?
Let's do it.
And now there are folk that would rather go to your church than mine.
Right.
Literally. Some people are telling them, I'm leaving my church to go to Second. And they're like, that dude that used to do Sunday night services for me? That dude that barely could keep up with our choir and was sitting on the edge of the choir stand. I was the minister that had to get up when the preachers would come in late. And I had to keep moving my seat over until I was out sitting by the dumpster somewhere. Right? Now I'm the guy that people get up for.
Right.
Like, that's a weird dynamic. CJ, you got something?
I was just going to say, taking it to the kids, though. How do you, because she was asking about the kids, too, and like you guys going through that, and how your kids also handle that with being known.
How the kids, first, my kids, especially mine, they are proud to a degree, which I know they are. But daughter, especially being the older and being a girl, sick of the fact that dad is so out there all the time. Everybody's always talking about it. And thankfully, it's mostly good. Every once in a while, they have to hear whose mama or grandmama don't like me or whatever I've done, they think I've done. The boys are pretty cool about it. Yeah, they're pretty cool.
And I was lucky because when I grew up with my daughter, both of my daughters, I was, more or less ministerial.
You
type,
weren't all the way
I
out
wasn't
there
all
yet.
the way out there yet.
Right.
But the kids also get a favor of
being our kids.
being our kids. You know what I mean? Just,
Yeah.
you can do whatever you want to do in the church.
I mean, not in church.
Not in church, but I mean,
but people have the perception, though, the pastor's kids going to get away with everything.
Yeah.
They're going to get the best of everything. And
But
I'm like,
also,
usually
they
not.
also have to, Christian also has to deal with, no, you got to be in Sunday school.
That's what I was about to say. They have
You
to be
have
there
to be in
more.
Sunday school.
Yes, they have to be there more than anybody else. They have to deal with me being absent more. So if it's a trade-off, okay, how many of your baseball games of your kids do you have to miss?
Yep.
To go to funerals and the fulfill meetings, and so I have to do that a lot and feel guilty about it, and make hard choices, in that kind of way, and always running in late and all that. And again, it gives you a different perspective of pastors you thought you knew. You thought they were so important, and they think they're so important. Nah, they were pastoring, raising a family at the same time, and until you know what it's like to have to be at a funeral and a soccer game at the same time,
And making this decision, it is extremely.
and running while I never forget, we did one funeral at Agape. This after I had left, and the young man passed at Agape, and I had to leave out to go take my children somewhere, and I walked in, said what I needed to say, gave my condolences to the family, spoke in the pulpit, made my remarks like a pastor, and then within 5 minutes I was putting my finger up and leaving, and I was certain and sure somebody was saying, "Oh, he too important to stay," and didn't know that I'm trying to make it back so that my kid ain't the only one not getting picked up from soccer practice. You know what I mean? Like, they don't know. They think I'm so special that I don't have to sit there.
Literally just the day before yesterday, I got a call from a young lady whose mother passed away. I went to school with her. She, she's over at another church and wanted me to do the funeral. And I'm like, yeah, I got you, whatever, your mother loved me, whatever, come to find out it's on Saturday when my daughter's graduation. So I have, you know what I mean? I had to, I took her some KFC though first.
Right.
Took her some KFC for the family.
But you gotta get to where you gotta go.
I gotta do, my family comes first.
Family comes first.
My family comes
and people
first.
will say it until it's them.
Right.
They will always say, "Take your time. You do for your. Let me be on vacation. Your loved one died, and I ain't coming back." That'd be a different story. You know what I
really
mean?
will.
And I've watched, and it's a tragic story for a lot of people. And honestly, pastors got this way. What was passed down to us was some of the horror stories of pastors who sacrificed their families for a church that would throw them away at a moment's notice. There are stories of pastors, and again, thank God I haven't experienced this yet. I know what it's like to experience being good to somebody and they leave you or reject you or talk about you or whatever. But I'm talking about pastors that have come home from vacation with their families to minister to a family, your loved one passed, and within a year that family leaves the church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it didn't come from nowhere, but we also have to struggle not to live in like this federated bitterness, like this passed down, but we have learned how to balance ourselves better. And I want to talk about that privilege for our kids and for us, because another part of being in the Fishbowl is that people want to do for us.
Yeah.
And even if it's just the positivity they share on our behalf, the support they give, perhaps they want to be a blessing to us in some kind of way. Perhaps they want to make life easy for us. How many people, I can remember last time I bought a banquet ticket. You know what I mean? Go out to eat, somebody's paid for my meal.
Yep.
But it's so funny because, again, you don't want people to do too much.
Go overboard, yeah.
Because, again, it's not my hang up. I carry a hang up because I come from a very humble family that never treated pastors the way I'm being treated now. Right. So I come from a small church context. My dad is that super blue collar guy. George really does haunt me in that way. And I don't mean like he does it to me. I just feel like I'm so different from him now in the way that I'm living that I don't know how to take people who want to do for me. I don't know how to take knowing full well I need somebody to drive me so I can get back safely and focus on preaching when my father never did that. But I'm not him and he's not me.
Right.
But then I also feel haunted by how are other people seeing this dynamic, that now I'm the next big shot preacher that everybody's always falling over. And that's almost what is creating resentment, even though it's all good natured. But somebody on the side is creating a resentment and an entire narrative about me because somebody else loves me. And it's just crazy watching that. Like, Who does he think he is? Not based off what I'm doing, but how somebody else sees me and loves me and talks well of me. And let me just throw this out there, because Mo knows this story, and I won't, reveal too much. But I will say, because she shared something with me the other night. If you think you can talk about pastors and it don't get back to the pastors, you crazy.
Wow.
If you think you can make little sly comments, little slick stuff, and it don't, and I'm not saying like everybody has to be a tattletale.
Right.
I'm just saying that sooner or later,
It's going to
it's going to come back. And somebody said it, Pastor Tatum said it. And then I'm going to see you. We're going to be all smiles and hugs.
Yep. We have to, that's some of the hardest things when you know somebody has said that and said this, and you still have to greet them with, hey, how you doing, brother? How you doing, sister?
And sometimes I'm like, for real, like I carried this for a long time. Like, for real, what did I do to you?
Yeah.
Take the demeanor and disposition and just, I don't get your personality. But what did I do to you that would make you, usually publicly, and sometimes, unfortunately, there are people who are members of our churches or people who are connected to our families or whatever that sometimes kind of sort of go along with it. You know what I mean? Yeah, he is kind of, or they might snap back at you on our behalf and create even more of a problem because they snap back.
Yep.
Mike say, who do I need to stiff arm? Hey, Mike is my Bernie Mac, like from Head of State with Chris Rock. Hey, he's my Bernie Mac. Listen, when they go to another pastor to complain, and that pastor, listen, pastors talk.
They talk.
We talk.
They talk.
And the reason we talk is because y'all talking about all of us. You're talking about Pastor Stanford today. You'll be talking about Pastor Johnson tomorrow. Grandma would say a dog that leave a bone will carry a bone. That means if they'll drop it off, they'll pick it up and bring it back.
That's right.
And we be like, hey, man, your member or your former member or that wayward member is over here. Mm-hmm. Or there's some pastors out there that go along.
Because they need members.
Happy to get somebody.
They
want to feel better. Or even if they're not getting a member, they want to feel better that their negative perceptions and words about some other preacher or minister. And I had to learn not to do this. And I will say, I hate to say it like this, but even from what I used to hear when I was a kid from my own leaders, I don't care how reputable the source thinks they are. Meaning, I heard from their longtime members he's messing up over there, and they wouldn't lie like that. He's in there. He's on the staff. He's a family member. She's a family. They wouldn't. This ain't just gossip. This is real talk. No, staff members lie too.
Yep.
Family members can be bitter too. Or you might have taken something they said and made it way more than the way they said it because you wanted to affirm something. But I'm saying just because we're that figure, we're just the subject of more conversation than the average person.
But I don't think that people understand how hurtful that is. How hurtful when it gets back to you.
Right.
Especially when it's somebody you've helped, you've paid their bills.
Right.
You've been to their funerals. You went to their kids' parties. You went to the bar mitzvah. You helped them move. You've done all that you can for them, and they still have something to say. It is absolutely hurtful and painful.
And President Harrison said it right. It makes it hard to trust. And I want to address Mariah and then Pastor Tatum in a minute. But Mariah first. So she says, wait. Sometimes you got to talk to a pastor about another pastor. And that is true. If we're going through something, you had a genuinely difficult experience, which I have had to talk to people who've had I'm talking like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
I don't know how to address this. I feel like this is wrong. We all have counseled people who might be under another pastor. And when I say counsel, I don't mean we take the place of their pastor until they decide that they're no longer their pastor. Right. You know what I mean? But we might have to give some advice on how to handle something in a right and respectful way. But if you're just bringing garbage and mess,
and that's Pastor Todd,
we gotta feel,
right?
We feel what it is.
A lot of times that's the problem. You only come with half the story.
Listen,
you only come telling your side of the story. So I mean, I'll listen to you
because I got a side too that somebody's probably telling about me.
Absolutely.
And the funny thing is, when it is a one-sided story, that side can sound so complete. That side can sound so comprehensive and complete and balanced, and they come humble. I ain't trying to talk about nobody. You know I love about. And then they just paint it in such a way, and even if they don't intend to, it can still be toxic. But if I'm hearing from a member that there's some abuse, inappropriate behavior, and I'm talking about somebody else's member, I can talk to them about it and leave it there.
Right.
And sometimes I will tell them. So here's the thing. I will tell them this won't go any further, and it depends on how they're presenting it and sharing it. Other times I will stop folk while they're talking.
Absolutely.
And say, the way you're going right now, I'm not comfortable. And I've said it to some people, because the way you're speaking about that person, I am certain and sure somebody's speaking about me.
Absolutely.
Every pastor got people coming. Every pastor got people going. It's a fact of life. People have joined Second from other places since I've been there. People have left Second and gone to other places since I've been there. And all of them came and went with a story. All of them. And the more I'm known, the more story there is.
Yes.
So people think it's great to have a big church and it's great to be well known.
And some of them is half truths.
But not when you're, and again, I don't despise, because there's a certain grace that comes with being more prominent. You're prominent if you're any kind of pastor.
Right.
Be a pastor of one of the larger black churches in the whole city. Be a pastor who's in, politics and social media and on the news all the time. That's a whole different dynamic. And so there's a grace you have to grow into to handle it. And I'm not super sensitive about everything. Can't afford to be. But at a certain point, you get tired because you're like, there's nobody I don't try to be there for.
Right.
So it's like, give me a break. Literally, like, don't treat me perfect. Just give me a break. Any other questions? Thank you, Pastor Dela Cruz. We love you, man. Love you, brother.
It's been a minute, sir.
Take a few moments and do that. Ask a black pastor. If you got a question for a pastor, black pastor, a light-skinned pastor, whatever.
Elder Barge pastor.
Ask Elder Barge. Now, back to Tatum. When they call your bishop on you, now listen. I've had it. They're going to try to call my moderator, what? I'll fight him too. They do it because they think they can intimidate you with some other, voice, whatever. But, this is a challenge. And it's funny because we look at Hollywood as the famous, prominent people, but there's a local prominence that is sometimes even more toxic than the distance that those Hollywood people have from their critics.
Yeah.
Because they get to go back to their house in the hills.
Right.
We on 4th Street.
I gotta come back here next week.
I'm on the west side with you.
I gotta preach next week.
You know what I mean? I'm literally sitting on my porch and you ride by me mugging me all slow like Snoop Dogg in that movie. Me, baby boy, you just me mugging me out the window. And I'm sitting here trying to drink an iced tea on my porch and watch my kids play baseball.
That is the one thing I like about being away. It's the one thing I like about being away.
If I can redo it.
If there was one thing, I really do like that.
Because, I think that local famous, if that's what you want to call it, and I'm using the phrase, local famous is worse than like global famous. It's worse.
Heck, just think the last church I was right next to the joint. I couldn't fake it at all.
They looking in your windows.
They right there. I get out of church and walk home. It's 2 steps.
Listen,
and everybody come with me.
I was out cutting the grass today. Talk about being a prominent figure. I was out cutting the grass today, and I went down the street to cut this corner that nobody owns or whoever owns it. It's just like the corner. And so I'm just going back and forth. And first I jumped out, and I went ahead and took a bag of me, a bunch of beer bottles, cans, just everything you could think of, that old Ripple, everything's out there. And so now I got this bag full of beer bottles, and I joked with my neighbor because I came back, in the riding lawnmower, come back up the sidewalk. And I was joking with him, and I was like, man, when I do this and go pick up around my neighborhood, I just hope nobody comes to my house and looks in my trash because they would think I have a serious problem. He was like, you need me to take that for you? I was like, yes, please take this. Because even if the trash man comes, you're like, Pastor, what's going on?
Absolutely.
But the distance helps tremendously, but we feel the pressure to be here and present. But we need the blessing of the distance. Mm-hmm. We need to be away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She said, if you say so. Listen, I know some preachers that needed that stuff.
He called you the ripple preacher.
And Sister Sonia, you're right. Most times leaders suffer in silence because what I'm going to say? I mean,
we got to go home and talk to our wives.
We got home and talk.
We got to go home and talk to our wives. And then they mad. They want to fight you.
They want to fight you.
they want to call. You want me to call them? No.
They tired of the whole church.
Now you want to fight my battles.
Listen,
I'm just trying to give. They be
shouting all hard just so they can step on people's toes, slap them in the Holy Ghost. And I want to say that, and this applies to men in general. It applies to men of God. Everybody says be vulnerable and all that stuff, but most of us still don't feel that there's a safe place to be vulnerable. Right. And it's just like how a man feels when he becomes physically hurt, like he's less of a man,
right? Not
because he feels it inside, but because others will perceive that he is less than capable of handling their issues. And, you can be vulnerable. Now, I seen what y'all did to preachers who were vulnerable. They became memes. And preachers like, not me, doc. I'm not doing it. But we do find safe spaces. We have a lot of people who don't know how to. We've all talked to pastors, and when we talk about bad behavior in pastors, a lot of it is because of that reason. They don't have an outlet, and they've turned to toxic behaviors in a variety of ways. Some of them rant and rave. I kid you not. I never heard more F words than when I got in a room with some pastors who were airing frustrations about their churches.
Oh, my goodness. Oh.
Man, gangster rap movies ain't got nothing on a preacher that's had a bad time in a congregation.
Bad church experience, bad
Lord
congregation.
Have mercy.
Especially one that they done left. And oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah. All y'all going to hell. And with gasoline draws on.
Over there with those.
Right.
Oh,
all the slurs. But but I recognize it for what it is. Now, some people are some folk ain't saved and ain't dealing with nothing in no kind of saved way. Some folk are genuinely hurt.
Oh, yeah.
They are for real hurt. Their families, their children have suffered hurt. They have carried hurt. They've probably been underpaid and overworked. Or whenever they did get paid, people act like, they gave them the world. And so, we pray for pastors because, again, pastoring, back to our beginning theme, brings with it a prominence that brings with it pressure. And I'm glad we have this forum because this is a part of how we work out. We just dump on y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's how
I mean, you always you need to have somebody. Every pastor needs somebody. I mean, I don't know how many times we call each other and just talk to each other.
That's it.
Vent to each other. And we love each other enough to say, man up.
Right.
Nah, doc, you wrong on that part.
Yeah.
You wrong on that part.
I would do it differently.
Yeah.
But honestly, I've said to our church, man, I know y'all talk about me. I talk about you too. What? When you stop, I'll stop. When you repent, I'll repent. You know what I mean? But then there's the stuff we don't say and a lot of stuff we could say.
Yeah.
Because pastors know a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot we could say. And some of y'all think we're saying it and we're not. You'd be surprised that you think you can't trust us. You can probably trust us a lot more than you think you can.
Absolutely.
There's a whole lot that
There's a lot that we see and we hear.
And we cover folks.
Every rumor is half of them we know. Half of them we know.
And I'm covering you in ways that you would never cover me.
Absolutely.
And I have to live in that reality. I'm covering you in ways that you would never cover me. And so we're all, as we said, we're human, but we're called to a special calling. And so we embrace that. We accept it. We walk in it. We live in it. But I give a shout out to all pastors who are out there because it's a struggle. And everybody in a ministry position, period. It's a struggle. And I try to remind people of that. Once you're up in front of folk, you're going to be looked at differently. And there's a different obligation on you, And you're right, Mike. We can't lead a church like they do until we can.
That's it. Until we can. Woo! Thank God we can. Thank God. Hey, listen,
Lord.
Before we close, I just want to drop this real quick because it is Memorial Day. And we definitely want to give a shout out for all those who have fought and lost and fallen. But I want to take special attention and special time to shout out Airman, was it Roger Fortson?
Yes.
The young man who
was killed by police.
Airman. Yes, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tragic loss.
In his own home.
Wrong house. cops called on somebody else and they came in. He had a lawful gun, had the right to have it. Came to the door. I mean, you banging on somebody's door. What you gonna do? What you supposed to do? I mean, and we have to. This has to come to somehow. I mean, I'm so sick of saying this has to stop or it needs to stop.
Yeah, I'm tired.
But I mean, we have to still speak up.
I believe
we have to still speak up.
And Pastor Jamal Bryant did a phenomenal job of preaching the eulogy, of advocating for that family. We joke about prominence. Again, back to prominence. We joke a lot about these prominent, popular pastors, Ben Crump, the lawyers of the world, until you need them.
Absolutely.
Until you want them to highlight your family's issues, until you need them to open up their church or put their voice on it or use their weight, their influence to bring attention to an issue. And then all of a sudden it's okay to be a celebrity pastor as long as they're tweeting about your issue.
That's it.
And so it's like, hey, that position comes as a blessing and a curse, not just to them, but also to the community, because the things you might not like about the prominence of a pastor might be the very thing that helps you get through some issues or help to bring resolution that you might not have done on your own, which is a whole nother show about folks expecting you to jump in and use your name and position in every situation.
Yes, sir.
And you got to discern what's a good way. Or sometimes you're just tired. Like you've been there, I've been there. You're just tired of being that frontline dude. You're tired of being out there by yourself. You're tired of advocating for people who do not advocate for you. Pastors who are undermining and talking bad about you while you're just trying to be that person that will speak up.
And that's the reason they down the street with zip to zero members, mad at you because you're doing what needs to be done in the community.
And some people happen to notice.
Right. And so stop being mad and join in.
Join in.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right to follow somebody's lead. It's all right not to be out front, but to stand in the back, hold hands and say, I got your back.
But actually stand with us instead of at home. Instead of staying at home.
Stop talking undercover, going behind our back saying, well, they think they know. It's not about what we think. We're standing up for the
rallies and hiding behind trees and stuff. And 60 yards away talking about I was there. I was in my car.
I saw you. We was all in this together.
Good
no,
job.
we wasn't.
No, we weren't.
No, we weren't.
We
were not in this together.
We were over here literally getting
I was on the front line and you
was eating donuts across the street.
You in the chow hall.
You at Starbucks. Oh, man. It's been a great show. Thanks for the perspective, Pastor Jeff.
Thank you,
Hey,
man.
let's go on ahead and shout out our man, Brother CJ, stepping in for Big Mike.
Stepping in, yes,
Appreciate
sir. Yes,
you.
sir. Yes,
things
sir.
went well. Things went smooth. Big Mike is out of town celebrating the graduation of a family member. And love to the Marsh family as they graduate. All of you traveling on Memorial Day, first of all, remember the meaning of Memorial Day. Try to remember and love on the families of our service members who have lost their lives. I had the veterans stand up and stand for those who cannot stand up.
Absolutely.
For themselves. But also be safe. Slow down. Don't burn the house down.
That bush is not a toilet.
That bush is not a toilet.
Go in the house and use the bathroom.
You know, if you got
It's not a
drinking
toilet.
family members, know when to say when. Don't get shot up in no spades game.
Don't pee in,
Pierre.
don't pee in the pool, please. Don't pee in the pool.
That comes from a pool
Especially
owner.
if y'all coming over my house. You don't even get in the pool. Put it like
tell
that.
Grayson, you tell Grayson that.
He got diapers. He
You
got
tell-
pee diapers.
I might have them too. Bye, y'all. Take